This is the new Lumen Blade EDC29, the brightest flashlight in Nitecore's EDC lineup, able to output 6,500 lumens, which is not just bright, it's ludicrous. Let me start with a quick unboxing, and then let's just see the contents of the box. This is the Nitecore EDC29 Lumen Blade. This is a flat, or some would call them wedge-style EDC light, though I prefer the term flat. And as the name implies, this looks kind of like a folding blade in terms of its form factor. Comes with a belt pocket clip. So yeah, it would ride in the back of your pocket fairly easily, just like your EDC knife. It feels very solid, with checkering panels on the sides to provide a good firm grip. The overall look of it is pretty badass and sci-fi. It wouldn't be out of place as a movie prop in a Star Wars film or in Gundam to me. Now, this unit is, it is approximately 5 inches long and about 1.5 inches wide, and it's under 1 inch thick. And again, it feels very solid. There are the control buttons on the top, and it does have a side switch. Now it comes with the switch up, and that's in lock mode, and if you press any of the buttons, it will tell you it's fully locked, but it will also tell you which power intensity mode it is set at, and also the battery capacity. And if you flip the switch down, you can activate the unit by pressing down, and I'll tell you what light mode it is, and that is 1200, which is high. And if you tap it, you can switch between moonlight mode, which is 15 lumens. It even tells you how much of a runtime it has: low, medium, and high, 1200 lumens. And there also is a secondary button that can switch between turbo mode and strobe. And in turbo mode, it can go up to 6,500 lumens. And that is no joke. In fact, I accidentally burned a hole through my vest while I was playing around with this about 1 inch away, and I pressed the turbo mode, and within 1.5 seconds, it had burned a hole through my polymer vest here. So yeah, this brightness here is no joke, but of course we're going to test this out, probably not in the turbo mode, but I will test out the high mode and see how accurate it's saying that the 1200 lumens are in my testing rig. So but with that, let's get started with testing. Oh, by the way, it is fully rechargeable. There is a USB charging port under this cap here. The overall unit is IPX5 rated, which means it will survive a light water spray like rain, but it is not fully immersible, just so you should know that. All right, let's give it a full charge overnight, and we'll get started with the testing. I fully recharged the battery before starting the test and let the unit run for about 10 seconds to warm up the battery chemistry. As you can see, my testing rig is not a NASA-designed scientific instrument, but I have calibrated it to a reliable 100 lumen light source. So what happened there is that when I first placed the unit inside of the box, it accidentally pressed the activation button, which changed the output mode, so I had to change it back to high output. And based on my readings and calculations, I'm getting about 1087 lumens, which is pretty darn close to the 1200 lumens that Nitecore states. This is the Lumen Blade in moonlight mode, low, medium, high, and insane. I want to take a quick pause here to explain why the footage you're seeing does not look impressively bright. The flashlight is in lumen shield mode, so it's outputting 6,500 lumens right now, but it doesn't look that much brighter than when it was in high mode, 1,200 lumens. And that's because the camera is automatically adjusting the exposure for whatever the brightness of the ambient light is. And I gotta tell you, with my naked eye, this hallway is crazy daylight bright right now. Alright, let's continue. But so we don't burn out the electronics here, let me just keep it on high mode here, just so you can see the overall beam pattern. Now, it is a very floody beam that we're getting in high mode, but there is a definitive hotspot, though it is a very gradual gradation into the spill from that hotspot, which is about 3 feet wide at this distance. We have our Lumen blade in moonlight mode, low, medium, high, and ludicrous. Industry standard drop tests are from 1 meter or 3 feet. I'm going to drop it from 6 feet twice onto rocks and dirt, so we'll see if it still works. Nitecore claims that the unit can run for up to 2 hours when started in high mode, 1200 lumens. But don't worry, I'm not going to make you sit here for 2 hours. I'm going to set my camera for time-lapse mode, and we're going to see how long it can run. A 2-hour runtime sounds impressive, but you got to remember that the flashlight will not stay at its highest mode the entire 2 hours. Modern high-output LED flashlights are programmed to step down their output to keep their internal circuitry from overheating and melting. There you go, at about 80 minutes it starts to step down, and I can't really tell, but this may be low mode or even the ultra-low 15 lumen mode. Now, it's going to stay at this low power level and even dimmer for the rest of its runtime, which is typical behavior for most flashlights. But let me know in the comments if you think a 2-hour claimed runtime at high is a disappointment, a bit of marketing huckstership. And how would you prefer to have a company describe its product's runtime? Alright, we're over 3 hours now, so let's see how much longer this will run. So there we go, 210 minutes on a single battery charge, starting at 1200 lumens, which is still pretty impressive. I'd like to thank Nitecore for sending out the EDC29 for me to test, and it's no exaggeration for me to say that this is an impressive, even awesome flashlight. Now, 6500 lumens is pretty crazy bright. Now, but there are plenty of flashlights out there that purport to output that much or even more, but they're typically the size of small water bottles. This one is a pocketable, thin, flat EDC light, and for this to output that much lumens is kind of unbelievable. But I found out firsthand that it can, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I accidentally burned a hole in this vest here by just when I was holding this a little close to my belly, and I was pressing the various buttons down to test out its output, and I pressed the turbo, their Lumen Shield is the name they call the maximum brightness mode. Yeah, I pressed that, and almost immediately I smelled burning plastic, and I actually had to sew a patch onto the hole here. It's no joke. So if you have friends that like to prank you by turning on your EDC light when it's in your back pocket when you're not looking, yeah, you might want to warn them if you are wearing one of these not to do that. But it is impressively bright. Now, I wasn't able to actually test out the Lumen Shield mode at 6500 lumens because this is an intermittent on. So you actually have to press this continuously to get it to output that. And it only does it for a little bit, so I wasn't able in my testing rig to test that brightness, but I did test out the high mode, and it was pretty much spot on. And where this also impresses is in its runtime, it far exceeded the 2 hours of high mode runtime at 1200 lumens. So yeah, this is a high performance flashlight. And it also has this great display that shows you not only which brightness setting you have it on, it tells you how many lumens that is, it tells you how much runtime it has, and it tells you how much battery life and voltage of your battery. So, and it calculates how much runtime based on the amount of battery life you have. So yeah, this is a pretty high performance, high feature flashlight. The only things that I wish it would have had was maybe a magnet to allow you to clip this onto a car hood and use it as a work light, or I wish the belt clip, the pocket clip, also had a reverse bend on it so you could use it as a headlamp should you need to. These are very minor things, but a lot of EDC lights out there are now coming up with those features. So yeah, it would have been nice. I think Nitecore might want to consider doing that in the next iteration. It's a very minor improvement, but overall this is a very impressive light. So if you're interested in picking one up, I've included product links as well as more information in my full written review at moondogindustries.com, and you'll find a link to that article in this video's description. If you use those links, you help support this channel. And you can always help support this channel by simply hitting the thumbs up like button, and of course subscribing to this channel and hitting that notification bell if you're not already subscribed to the channel. It just takes a second to press those buttons, and it's absolutely free. They don't charge you to be a subscriber to my channel, so I appreciate you taking the time to press those buttons and taking the time to watch this video. God bless. Moondog out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.